Pick up your horror figures at Big Bad Toy Store at the link in the description.
Horror, kaiju, Dragon Ball, and more. Steven's Toy Reviews.
Hey there, collectors! Happy Friday to ya. Figure Friday to be exact, and today we're going to be taking a look at a NECA figure. That's why it's Figure Friday the 13th. It may not actually be Friday the 13th, but it's horror. And what a way to kick off the release of a new Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie. Ooh, didn't know about it? Yeah, don't worry. Don't worry. Streaming exclusive. You might be able to miss out, but it's made by the same folks who did the Evil Dead reboot. So maybe it'll be good. We'll see. We'll see. Anyway, NECA's Ultimate Leatherface from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, 1974. Whew. All right, so we've all got our Freddys, we've all got our Jasons, we've got our Chuckies, we've had Ghostface. I've covered those. You do want to check out those reviews, right? Right. And now we have everyone's favorite cannibal, aside from Hannibal Lecter. Now we got a nice set of weapons in this release, and this is going to be the only Ultimate Leatherface, despite the fact that there have been so many other movies. So should you settle on just getting maybe what's not your favorite incarnation of Bubba here? Or do you not need to settle at all? Because this is Ultimate. Well, let's take a look to see whether or not Leatherface here is going to be worth adding into your collection. NECA has this habit of doing this thing. Well, they do a couple things. One of them is quality control related. But anyway, the other thing is going to be, as time goes on, they tend to reissue their figures. But when they reissue their figures, they tend to change things about them. Sometimes it is widely known, like for an example, when they did a reissue of their Striker Eureka and their Pacific Rim lineup, they noted that the first issuance of it was bad. I mean, it was bad. Randy even was on record saying that it was noted that it was bad. And they fixed it. Fantastic. If you take a look at their first Ultimate Predators that they had the Jungle Hunter and the City Hunter. They have been reissued so many times, and they have done so many updates to their Predators. Basically, if you were to get one of the newer reissues of it, it's a completely different figure compared to the first release of the Ultimate Predators that they had. Now, Leatherface here. So I picked this one up actually right before the pandemic started, okay? And this basically does not match up with the promo images back when this figure first launched. And if you look around online, maybe you see one that is in another review or listed somewhere, and it looks a little bit different. Here's why. In the promotional shots for Leatherface, he has a different apron with a blood splatter pattern on it. And then if you look at the pictures that they took of Leatherface, once again, a different blood splatter. Then if you take a look at the promotional in-box, once again, different paint apps on the saw. Over time, NECA has changed the material for his apron and the blood splatter on the figure. And even knockoffs have a different pattern in and of themselves. So basically, what I'm showing you here is just the one that I have. Now, this section has gone way over the time limit that it should have. So let me cut right to the chase and talk to you about Bubba here. I do have to say, in terms of the looks, I think that for both of the head sculpts, I think the paint is a little bit too heavy-handed. But other than that, I think he looks fantastic. I think the blood patterns are applied really well on the apron. And I am going to show you this macro shot because on this one in particular, guess what? They use their dot matrix printing on upholstery, not vinyl, but upholstery here to get the pattern consistent. So that is really great to see. So overall, if you are looking for a nice looking Leatherface figure from the original movie, then the most recent issuance of Leatherface is going to be looking really good. Being an older Ultimate figure from NECA in their Ultimate lineup, back when an Ultimate meant buy one and then you're done, and they wanted to really up the engineering for articulation. By today's standards, Bubba here, he's got a little bit of work to be done. But when he first came out, he was pretty good considering what NECA was working with. So what do we have? Well, his head plugs in on a peg. So the head spins on a swivel. Okay, so that's going to be just it for the head. Now, that peg plugs into the neck on a ball joint, so that's going to give us the movement there. And this is going to be difficult, but let's go ahead and just show you. Whoa, okay. Whoa. Oh, almost broke something there, but as you can see, that's the peg that I'm talking about. That's the hole. He does come with the alternate head sculpt, which we'll take a look at in a second, and that is how you swap out the heads. So I ham-handed that, okay? Don't be me. Use heat if you are struggling, okay? So that's what the neck engineering looks like. Shoulders, we're going to have swivels that allow you to spin the arms around. He has a little bit of a V-cut going on, so his arms kind of sort of go out to the side, but it's not that big of a deal because they spin all the way around. And then we do have hinges, so this way he can raise and lower his arms. He can T-pose, which is what a cannibal is gonna need. We don't have dedicated bicep swivels up here. We don't have like a cut, but we do have single hinge elbows, which that's gonna be the extent of the range of movement there. Yeah, today we would have gotten a nice double hinge looking at you, New Blood Jason. Mwah. Fantastic figure. Anyway, that's going to be the extent of the range of movement there, but they do peg into the bicep area, and we're going to get swivels here. So we can actually spin the elbow all the way around, which is nice. Now for the wrists, we're just going to have ball joints, but they're going to be barbell or double axis. So they're going to plug into the forearm, and then a ball joint's going to plug into the hand. So this way we can get them to spin around. So for the arm movement, getting him to hold the chainsaw, it's not that big of a deal. It's pretty easy to do. As you can see, he can put his hands together. But super duper awesome poses. Well, you know, we can get some basic movie accurate stuff. As you can kind of see here, we do have a split here. Looks like we got ourselves a ball joint at the waist, but as you can see, his shirt is, I guess, supposed to tuck into his pants here. So you may have a little bit sticking out. It's not too difficult to get that tucked back in. Oh, but it pops out the other side. Yeah, so if you're a stickler for things like that, the waist joint, which is a ball joint, you may have some issues there with stuff popping out, but thankfully we have his apron to help with that. Now, for the hips, like I made mention off at the top, NECA is constantly doing revisions to their figures. So any future reissues of this guy, we may see their new ball jointed hips, but here we do have the swivel hinges, so they kick out about this far forward with his rubber pelvis and that far back, and then this far out to the side on the hinges. Now, if you do happen to get a Leatherface where he's all sort of cattywampus like this, where, oh man, he's got one leg that's longer than the other, nope, you just gotta force it back into place and you're good to go. There should be a card popping up that will help you out with that. Now we do also have thigh swivels, which mine are basically stuck and they don't really want to move, but that's the engineering on these hips. So it's there, I just can't do it. Single hinge knees, as you can see there, and we do have swivels, so that's good. Ankles, ball joints, and we get some great range of movement. I mean, look at that. That for the time, this is really good. I mean, nice solid ankle rocker side to side. Forward and back is okay, but yeah, we can get him to support himself in some fun poses. So that is good to see. Overall, I think the articulation for Leatherface, look at that. We got him in a running pose first try. Not amazing, but considering the time that this was released, I think he can hold his own relatively well. So if you know how to pose your figures, you got enough to work with here. We can cover accessories really quick, so don't worry too much about it. I won't ramble on. For the accessories, we do get an alternate head part. We do get a cleaver, knife, meat hook, mallet, and chainsaw. Am I reviewing Leatherface or am I reviewing the Doomslayer? Anyway, let's go ahead and take a look at that alternate head sculpt, which is going to be affectionately dubbed Old Lady Leatherface. And yeah, that's gonna, you don't want that coming at you at 3 a.m. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the accessories, where once again, as I made mention, it looks like NECA did change the paint application specifically on the saw and on the meat hook from release to release, because some pictures that I have seen of the meat hook actually do have a blood splatter application to it, whereas on mine, it's just a solid red where the blood is supposed to be. But the saw, oh wow, that's really cool. I really do like this. For the other weapons, you know, they are just there. It's pretty nice. I like them. But one of the issues that I kind of have is that we have some weapons that have blood on it, others that don't. Now, for Bubba's right hand. It is more so open, so this way he can hold one of the handles or the grips, whatever it would be, of the back of the chainsaw. He also has a little slit in there, so this way he can hold the smaller accessories like the meat cleaver and the mallet without them falling out. So you just slide them in right there, no issues, which is really cool to see. Now you've already seen all of the accessories up close and personal, great applications to them, really nice sculpts. You've seen some action shots, so let's take a 360 spin view where we can see this cannibal going after his prey. And overall, I think this is a really nice release with accessories. The only kind of sort of, I don't know, thing we could spice this up with is we do see some buckets in the promotional pictures of Leatherface here, which it is what it is. The backdrop that is in the box here, which the box is, I guess, a selling point for some folks, does make for a nice display for Leatherface, but we know that Gunner's going to be slamming that door. It would have been cool if we just had a door, so this way Leatherface could pretend to at least slam it in some way, shape, or form, even as an accessory set. And then also, as I always say, if you have a human character, he has to have splayed out hands along with fists. So that's just what I would say to kind of top off the accessories if we were able to get that. But otherwise, you know, if you need effect parts or stands, I have videos to help you out. Now here's going to be a size comparison where you can see that, yeah, generally speaking, for his stature, I think Leatherface is captured rather well. Size-wise, I think he's going to blend in just perfectly fine with your other Ultimate Horror figures from NECA, and we're going to go ahead and round this out. Buy now, skip, or wait for a deal. Of course, with the recent hype for the sequel to the original Texas Chainsaw, what are they doing with movies these days? Anyway, with the new Texas Chainsaw movie, a lot of folks are going to be looking back to this release to see whether or not they want to pick this up. And of course, Mezco is at some point going to release their 112 collective, and yeah, we're going to do a figure fight for that at some point. Don't worry, I'll get to it. But in terms of this release, I think this is really awesome. We have some great paint applications for the most recent issuance of Leatherface. The articulation, definitely, I mean, I think NECA should do a renewal of some kind, which, by the way, Toy Fair, I think is supposed to have been this weekend, and they're planning something on their own, so maybe we'll see something. And for the accessories, I think really, aside from getting some stuff for Leatherface's laboratory, if you will, I think everything does check out rather nice. Pretty Lady Leatherface would be nice as well, but I have a feeling that should be its own ultimate. NECA, get on the ball. So if you're a fan of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, not Turner Classic Movies, this is a rather solid release. Just keep in mind, prices are slowly starting to go up. Don't pay too much.
Well, collectors, that brings us to the end of the video today, and I just wanted to take a second to thank you so much for watching. Now, you've heard a lot from me. I'd like to hear a little bit from you. Drop in the comments down below whether or not you liked it, you hated it, or maybe you were somewhere in between. I also want to take an extra second here for a nice, humongous thank you to all the patrons for SDR over the last month who have really helped the channel grow into what it can be today. So to all of you, 2 big thumbs up. Thank you very much. And now the end card should be popping up, which will give you a few clickable links, like maybe to subscribe or head on over to my Patreon, or some short URLs like to my social media or to my Teespring store. There's also a video I hand selected for you, so if you want to watch another STR video, I hand selected some good content for you to watch, so definitely check out that video. Thank you again so much for watching, and I'll catch ya in the next video.